folks, welcome back to the C Morning Show. And we are going into our first talk show of the day. This is very important. Nowadays, protecting personal data has become a priority for many countries across the world, as cybercrime is growing in recent years. Did you know that?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, like the news stories that we read. So people's concern about their personal data have spiked in recent years. Incidents of data breaches have alarmed and forced them to rethink their relationship to either social media, financial app, or even e-commerce apps, as they mostly collect and store huge amounts of personal information that are vulnerable to unauthorized use, such as fraud and theft.
Yes, these growing privacy concerns have prompted advocacy for tighter regulations, leading President Joko Widodo to sign the Personal Data Protection Law back in 2022. Now, the law regulates the collection, use, disclosure, and other processing of personal data by international organizations, governmental, as well as private entities.
However, apart from legal protection, the government also needs to educate people and provide them with the knowledge and the literacy and best practices on how to protect their own personal data, especially when it comes to sharing them with other parties for convenience. So that is why, to delve into the topic more on how we can protect our personal data in this internet era, joining us today is Luminate Asia Director Dinita Andriani Putri in the studio. Thank you so much, Dinita, for joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So my first question is, because people, when we talk about data privacy, or what is exactly data privacy? So what is data privacy, and what are the most common threats to data privacy that we face nowadays?
So actually, data privacy is the protection of our personal data from unauthorized access that you have mentioned before, and also the ability of us to actually allow access to our personal data. So there's two concepts within data privacy. It's personal data and privacy. Yeah, so personal data is like your name, your religion, gender, address, and nationality. That's the general personal data. And you also have specific personal data according to the law. It's health record, financial record, criminal records. I hope you don't have any. Children's data, and also biometrics and genetics data. So those, we called it specific personal data because it requires a greater layers of protections of it. That's why financial institution and health institution, they have different kinds of data governance, and it's really hard to access our data from there.
Of course.
Yes.
And privacy is actually the extent to which we allow people to access our data. So data privacy is a concept that where we have to protect our personal data, and we have the ability to control it.
What are the most common threats usually that we're facing in relation to this?
I think today scams and online, like malware, malicious software, is the most common threats, and it comes via like text messages, SMS, email, attachment, files. And sometimes it relates to your daily life. Like, for example, if you're waiting for a package and then there's a text message saying that we're unable to deliver your package, please click this link to verify your address, right?
I've received those.
Yeah, and sometimes you are actually waiting for a package and you were like, oh, maybe I should check this. But the link looks very weird. And I don't know who sends it. It's not your store that you purchase your goods, for example. It's not a verified delivery account. So you have to check that. Or wedding invitation via WhatsApp.
Really?
Yes, I received that several times. I don't know if you have received it.
Yes.
My goodness.
From WhatsApp.
With a link.
With
With a
the
link.
attachment and
For
a link.
RSVP.
Yeah, for RSVP.
Yeah.
But if you look closely, it's .apk, which is actually an application.
.apk. So we need to pay attention to that. When it's
That one.
.apk?
Yeah, .apk is application.
Right.
So if you click on it, it will download a malware as an application, and it will infect your devices. And
So,
also
we have the ability to control it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, you
to be
actually
more
have control.
cautious
Yes.
with scams that are going on right now in this world. So here's the topic. The Indonesian Communication and Informatics Ministry warned the potential dangers of the Add Yours feature, right, on Instagram, where it required personal information such as date of birth, mother's name. So how can we protect our personal info and data? What are the online activities we should avoid? And can you explain briefly the modus operandi?
The modus operandi. Yeah. The Add Yours is a very interesting feature because you know, our habit in online is like we want to share. But
Yes,
we
overshare sometimes.
sometimes overshare,
Yep.
and sometimes we don't have the prompt, but we want to share. And then the Add Yours is like, please share something, 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 and you are feeling like, oh, I can now share because there was a prompt for me to share something.
Yes.
But actually, sometimes it prompts you to share your personal data. Like, I think sometimes ago, like, show your ID card,
Yeah.
for example. Yeah.
What?
Take pictures with your ID card, or like, yeah, that kind of thing. So, yeah, so the people doesn't realize that all of those data to the Add Yours features or like template features, they are fueling the business model of the platforms that you are using.
Right.
So it is being used to improve their services, to improve their algorithms and all, and they're using your personal data for that. And if your accounts got hacked, they can also access your personal data. So you have to be very careful in what you shared.
Yeah.
Social media.
Yeah, even like AI filters that
What is AI filters?
that's something that sometimes they your photo, they can turn it into like an older ones or like a
Oh, I remember
younger
that.
version
Yes,
of you. Yeah,
a couple of years
yeah,
ago.
Yes, it also recognizes the facial feature of you, and you have to be very careful with that.
That is so
yes.
scary. And these are basically the things that people do on social media,
Every
right?
single day.
Yeah, and I also remember, I think one of our colleagues, Naila, mentioned about, hey, why don't you share the name of your mother?
No.
Yeah.
Immediately, I was like, that's red flag because that's what the banking people ask us. It's like to
Exactly.
verify our
Yes.
data when we want to do a big transaction or whatever transaction, right? Be
You
very
have
careful.
control.
Yes,
You have control.
We have
so
control.
yes.
So how do we control that then? I mean, it's like, this is basically raising awareness, right, of what to share and what not to share.
Yes.
So,
First thing that I will suggest you to do is share as necessary. So, for example, if you're using e-commerce or shopping websites or whatever,
Yes.
they will need your name, your address to ship, and your financial details like credit cards for payment.
yes.
But they won't need your religion. They won't necessarily need your gender. So if they ask that, you can like, is this necessary for me to give my details because I only use this for shopping? Do
But
you need
why
to
would
understand?
gender and religion matter? So
Exactly, it doesn't matter, right?
No, it
So
doesn't.
actually,
Yeah.
these platforms doesn't need that information.
Okay.
So you have to be mindful of that. Like share as necessary. For financial, maybe you have to share more. For health, maybe you have to share more. But if you make reservations in a restaurant, they only need your name and your phone number.
Yeah.
Like they don't need your address.
They don't.
And if they ask, you're like, no, you don't need my address.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
just
most
share.
of the, you know what, online shopping,
Yeah.
e-commerce, e-shop these days, you know, we are obliged to
For credit card.
give out our personal data
Yeah.
for transactions. So
Yeah.
how do we know that these websites and these applications are safe for shopping, you know?
And also, is it safe to give our credit card
credit
details?
cards, yes.
Because oftentimes we even save the credit card details for next transaction. Is that a good
Yes.
practice?
I might say generally, if you're using the trusted website or e-commerce, it's generally safe.
Okay.
But if they offer the two-factors authentication, please use that.
Yes.
Oh,
Because
really?
because it adds layers of protection.
Okay.
And also, if you have service of notifications of the use of credit cards, please use that as well.
Okay.
That's how you know it's secure. And if they have like verification for your PIN number or like the password for your e-commerce, it's safe to do that.
Okay.
And you can save your credit card details.
Okay.
But change your password regularly, I would suggest. Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
And so when you talk about two-step authentication, you mentioned about e-commerce earlier, right? But what about like our emails? You know, because sometimes email providers also provide that sort of service. Should we do that double layer protection?
I suggest you to do so.
Okay.
Yeah, because in this digital world, we don't know where threats coming from. Then there's a lot of cyber crimes and identity theft, that kind of thing. So if they provide the two-factor authentication service, please use that.
Okay.
Yeah, and good password is important.
Good password.
This is the thing, right?
Do
Password.
you have to change your password?
Because it's like our brain,
I know.
right?
And we have
Dinita, I mean,
gazillions of
I
applications.
don't. I have. Yeah. I'm not gonna reveal
Let's not
anything.
overshare.
Yeah.
Let's not overshare. But
So-
it's just like crazy, like how many passwords that we
know,
have to
yeah.
have, and how often we need to change. What is the most practical and realistic way to protect?
Sadly, like practical and how to protect our digital data is not. Yeah, they're not working together well.
Right.
So you have to put more efforts. For example, there's a lot of password managers nowadays.
Yes, that's
So
correct.
you only have to remember the master password, and you put all your different passwords for different platforms there.
Okay.
Okay.
The challenge is if you forgot your master
Master
password.
That happens.
So that happens
happens.
a lot, but keep it safe. I suggest you to also change your password quite regularly.
How regular?
Once a year if you want.
Okay, okay, that's
So
manageable.
that's manageable, right? And you can use like your birthday as the day you change your passwords, or like New Year's,
You
for
can do
example,
that. Okay.
or
Okay.
Christmas, whatever.
Those are some
yeah.
good tips.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what about connecting to public Wi-Fi? Because oftentimes, especially when we go abroad, you know, we connect to the airport's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
safe
About
is
our
that? And if it's not
information.
safe, how do we make it safe?
It's not safe generally
Oh,
because we
okay.
don't know how they store our data and how they manage the you know, like the traffic or of our browsing history and all.
Yes.
So if you urgently need to use public Wi-Fi, if you have VPN, use VPN. If you don't have VPN, only use public Wi-Fi for like browsing, for example. Don't use it for financial transactions. Yes, or accessing your insurance, for example. Don't use it for like crucial things like that. But if you just want to browse things or open your social media account, maybe it's fine.
What about the incognito mode?
I mean, it provides layers of protections, but still, if you use public Wi-Fi, be very careful.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So
Don't make financial transaction, Ralphie.
Yes.
don't make financial transactions
Yep.
at the airport with free Wi-Fi. But if that already happened, you know, we gave out our personal information without us knowing how they stored it. You know, that happens.
Yeah.
That happened
Yeah.
already. If that happened already, how do we know our personal data has been compromised? And what should we do if there's a possible breach?
Yes. So because of the world we're living in at the moment, there's a lot of good regulations already, especially in European regulations. They have the General Data Protection Regulations, which then prompt platforms or any organizations to report data breach. So you will have notifications on that. But if you are infected with a malicious software, for example, like the wedding invitation that you clicked or the delivery that you click.
That's annoying.
If it happens in a second and you realize that, turn the flight mode
Oh, really?
Flight mode.
immediately.
All
Yeah,
right.
disconnect from the internet
Oh, wow.
or turn off your phone. Just disconnect from all the access and the internet.
Right.
And if you have antivirus, check your devices and also change your password from your other devices.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sometimes you lose control of some of the applications. That's also a sign that your personal data has been compromised.
Is that what hacking is?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, or sometimes you receive notifications to verify logged in into some of the website that you have never logged out.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
like there's an attempt to use your account. That's the sign.
Or like, for example, some credit card providers just like suddenly block your credit card entirely.
Yeah.
I have experienced that. It's not convenient, but hey, it's okay because they're protecting my money. So I like that. So what do you think of the regulations and digital transformation that our government is currently doing, and how does this impact our personal data and privacy?
So the government has been doing a lot of digital transformation, as you can see from public services, for example, right?
Yes.
You can use apps for accessing health or transportation, but we only had the personal data protection 2 years ago. And then we have 2 years of grace period, which means that this year the law will be fully enforced by October, and by then we will have our personal data protected, and they will have to have authority where we can report data breach.
Do we have the authority already?
No, we don't have. We don't have it yet, but we will.
Okay.
And when this authority is set up, we can report the data breach. We can ask for remedy.
Remedy?
Yes.
Such as what?
There's a lot of mechanisms for remedy. It's like a compensation, those kind of things, and those who experience data breach can ask for that.
Oh, basically insurance. Oh, that's nice.
Yes, yes.
All right.
If
Perfect.
it's working.
If it's
Yes,
working.
but I think the challenge with digital transformations and the regulations at the moment is that transforming to digital is not only technical. It's not only like transforming the analog data to digital, but also like how we transform the mental, the behavior, and the habits of us managing our data. So, for example, the state apparatus, if you want to request for new public service or like passport, for example, they also need to understand how to store that data, how they can protect that data, so they don't experience data breach. There were cases, as you know, a few years ago, and very recently, a big one. Actually, the digital transformation also has to involve risk and mitigation. And I think we still have homework for that.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. A lot of pro tip today
Yeah.
at the show for protecting our data and
Yep.
keep it private, not overshare. So thank you very much, Maria, for stopping by the studio. This is some
Thank you.
perfect information for us and also the viewers at home. Now we are set for another break. When we return, we'll bring you some world helplines today in the show.